Hello and welcome to DitoCast episode 593, recorded live on Sunday, March 22nd. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, coming back to the show, is Asheris.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome back.
Thanks.
This week's screenshot, Shere Khan flies over the 12, searching for threats in the 455th DDO screenshot of the week. Thanks, Shere Khan, for sending in this week's screenshot. This is actually from 2 weeks ago. We didn't have a show last week. I don't know if you've noticed, the world's kind of nuts right now. So that and I had some family stuff, and yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on last weekend, and my feeble attempts at putting a show together became more and more feeble as the week went on, and it just didn't happen. So this is the screenshot from last week. This week, there actually was not a screenshot of the week. Cordovan, apparently by reports, does not do a lot of vacationing or taking PTO, apparently. But he had most of the week off, so we did not have a screenshot or a chronicle. We do have the one from last week, which we'll talk about when we get there. But so there's not two screenshots this week, just the one. But it is a nice little shot of the 12 from an aerial view. Very nice. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next weekend. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOcast.com, with our calendar. I'm trying to think of how much to say about this. Side note, the world's just kind of going nuts. Let's just recognize that COVID-19 is lousy and is changing a whole lot of things, including my personal schedule. So, for those of you who are wondering and are somewhat familiar with my life, I live in King County in Washington, which is where kind of the leading edge of the outbreak in the U.S. I am fine. I have not been, as far as I know, I've not been in contact with anyone who's been confirmed to have it. Although there's a question mark on that. Yay. Mild contact, maybe. But my industry is like completely shattered. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing work-wise in the immediate future. So the whole idea of when a show is going to be might change on a dime until things kind of settle in. So that's just kind of what that's going for, what that's going to look like for the show. I still plan on doing it. Hey, social distancing is easy on this show. I have never done this show. Actually, that's not true. I did get interviewed by Sig and Ann back in the day once in my living room. But outside of that, and the one time I was at SSG, it's always been virtual. So the show's still going to happen as best as we can achieve it, just within the confines of, I don't know what my schedule's going to look like past Wednesday at this point. So, yeehaw, buckle up.
Well, if you want to sneak in a couple extra shows, I don't think anyone would complain about that. we all need more content to listen to these days.
Yeah. Really, realistically, what that probably looks like more would be along the lines of I'll bank some shows and some topics. Because, I have not, let's face it, I have not been great about getting a show out every week for a while, despite my efforts to accommodate that. Yeah. Anyways, we'll try and keep the show going as best as I can. The times might fluctuate a little bit more. There might be some more recorded shows and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just kind of up in the air. Kind of tangent to all of that. We hope that if you're listening to this, we hope that you're safe and you're healthy. If you're not, we hope that you get better quickly. But I mean, this all sucks for everyone. So hang in there, and we'll see you on the other side.
Absolutely. Everybody take care of yourself, take care of each other. Do the best you can.
And, look, I try not to get into world events too much, if at all. But if you're not taking this seriously, stop whatever the hell it is you're doing and take it seriously, because it is. And it's not going to get less serious if it's only going to get worse if more people are taking it less seriously. So, if you're listening to this on a crowded beach, this is me slapping you upside the head. Go home, knock it off. All right.
Yeah, more social distancing, less toilet paper hoarding.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Uh, shall we jump into game news?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's talk about the fun stuff, right? Well, I don't know. This might be a mixed bag of fun stuff. So SSG put out an important announcement, which they led with a quote from Lord of the Rings, which was, I mean,
one of my favorites all time.
Right? The quote being, "I wish it need not have happened in my time," said Frodo. "So do I," said Gandalf, "and so do all who live to see such time. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us." Yeah, I mean, great quote. Nice lead-in. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Here at Sandy Stone Games, our goal is to bring joy to everyone through our games, and we feel that this is more important than ever. We are making all of our adventures and stories open to everyone through April 30th. In addition, we will be running extra events for the games. So, for Dungeons & Dragons Online, what does this mean? All dungeons and raids, including those in expansion packs, are open to everyone through April 30th. All of the content is free. You can go anywhere in the game, whether or not you own the content, and have fun. Additionally, the Buddy bonus 5% XP will be active from March 20th through March 29th. This will be in addition to the weekend events. So that's through next weekend. The Mimic event will be active starting March 26th through March 26th through April 6th. And the anniversary event will be active starting March 26th through April 30th. You want more time with the anniversary event? Here you go. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
They're doing some stuff for Lord of the Rings Online as well. Again, the content is all free, and there's a couple events that I don't really understand because I don't play Lotro. But they're also doing that there. And then they finish by saying, "During this time, we hope that everyone stays safe and thank you." There was a patch this week. This is what it was. This was actually what the patch was, is to enable this stuff. There were a couple of issues with it. They had to investigate it to figure out what was going on. Some people weren't getting opened content. That was resolved. There was an issue with getting it patched. Coco Majoba wrote that after having investigated this over the course of today, all logs have indicated that this isn't actually an issue with the launcher itself, so much as external intermittent issues. They have a suspicion that this occasionally is happening, may be a result of the current situation where internet service providers are getting overwhelmed, but they don't know for sure. As a result, they don't have a good workaround besides potentially retrying or trying a data repair, which is available in the launcher menu. Again, though, we don't have a reliable workaround. This is specific to people who were getting stuck on, they weren't getting the patch. It wasn't downloading, and it was just kind of freezing. Hopefully that's been resolved for everybody. Doesn't sound like it's something that they can control. But, yeah, so that was the big announcement, the important announcement coming this week, which was pretty cool. I don't know, again, I'm not looking for this information, but I haven't seen anything from other gaming companies doing something similar, at least before. I'm assuming more will probably follow suit.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that various companies are doing some things, to entice people to, or to, pass out some bonuses in game and things like that for folks, given that gaming is so high. I think I saw somewhere that there was a record 21 million people on Steam last week. So, yeah, clearly using video games as a way to pass time is very popular right now, and this is a great idea for them. I think it's great for all their customers to just give them a little something extra to do, and give them some reasons to log in. but also maybe to remind some former players who might have some extra time to
Sure.
come give some of this newer stuff a look and see what they think. So
Yeah. And
absolutely, I think it works well.
the bonuses are also nice.
Oh yeah,
I'm not super excited about the Mimic event or the anniversary event, but I do. I mean, I enjoy the Mimic Hunt. It's kind
yeah,
of
I do
fun.
too.
The anniversary event I didn't really do this year just because there wasn't anything that interested me in it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it came at a rough time this year for me, and then they launched a hardcore right after it,
yeah.
so that kind of took a little of the wind out of the sails from in terms of my game time focus.
Speaking of hardcore, the buddy bonus is apparently active on hardcore in addition to the rest of the world, so that's kind of neat. Uh, haven't done any kind of bonus on hardcore before.
Yeah,
It
well,
is the
that
only
bonus will
bonus
apply to
planned.
Reaper, right?
It does apply to Reaper, yes.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, then I think that's huge. Then regular XP isn't so much an issue on hardcore, but that
Yeah.
Reaper bonus is huge.
I mean, there's people that are just going to 20 to get the cloak, so it'll help them too.
Yeah.
But um,
Hmm.
yeah, the Mimic Hunt will not be on hardcore. Um, I did see some people suggesting, hey, well, why don't you just open up hardcore as well? My suspicion is, were they to do that, hardcore would be overloaded with people. Like if they just made it open to everybody and everyone jumped on there, it would probably, as Linnabelle would put it, probably set the server on fire and jettison it into the sea. Uh, so I that's my guess about why they didn't make hardcore open to everyone. They just don't, they can't handle that kind of a load on the server. So
That's possible.
I suppose they
I
could
think,
queue it, but
yeah. I think the other issue would be that would allow for people to multi-box in
sure,
and possibly have tunes getting advancing XP and favor without actually having to run through the content because
without
they're just
having to
sitting at
risk
the
anything.
entrance. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
mean that's
I
a
mean,
possibility.
yeah, I don't know that for a fact, but yeah, both those. But I think the volume thing would also be an issue as well potentially.
Yeah,
Which I mean, I think it's a bummer though too, because I would love to see the premium folks be able to experience it, and
sure.
without having any content restrictions. Um, that would be a nice opportunity to do that. But who knows? Maybe sometime in the future they'll work that out.
Maybe I think they would need to have more than one hardcore server, in order to do that.
Yeah,
So
which
maybe
wouldn't be a bad thing.
maybe post server consolidation, if that ever happens, please yes,
Yeah,
there might be an opportunity to, like, we're gonna convert some of these server resources we had for these other servers into more hardcore servers or something. But I don't know.
yeah. Well,
Um,
if I recall from what Severlin said at the um, yeah, when he announced the mega server concept, that there was something involved with the mega server where they were looking at some engineering technical stuff to allow those servers to handle more active concurrent users. So
the
maybe if they
hardcore was
work,
kind of a test run in
yeah.
that regards. So
Well, if you saw the logging graphs from the first run, the first month especially, the volume it was handling was pretty sizable.
I don't really know how much I trust those graphs.
Yeah, I know. It,
I haven't
I'm
looked
sure
into
they're
the
flawed.
source or really paid attention to them. Um, but I I am at best skeptical about them. From I've seen them in passing and not cared. Uh, but I don't know. Anyways, one of the things I kind of wanted to take a moment to do about this. Um, well, before we get to that, I would say that I did see some people talking about how, oh, this was like the bonuses were kind of lame and I already have the content kind of attitudes. Um, which, I mean, okay, but I think this is still. I mean, I have all the content, and I'm not super
So
excited
do
about
I.
the anniversary event. I'd like a cloak from the Mimic Hunt, a level 4 cloak for the Mimic Hunt, which should be pretty easy to get. But uh, and I've already alluded to the fact that my schedule is a little bit crazy at the moment. So I'm not gonna be able to take super full advantage of the buddy bonus. But I think it's a great gesture for the company, and I think if you're looking at it from a how this doesn't benefit me perspective, I am not impressed. They're not what's the word? I'm not really on board with the whining about the events. So I think
No,
it's a
this
great
doesn't really
gesture by the
benefit me
company.
either. Yeah, besides the buddy bonus, it doesn't really benefit me all that much either. I have all the content, but
Hmm.
I see how this is really great for the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And you know, I absolutely support them doing things that don't always just benefit the segment of the player base that we're a part of.
Oh. And I'm also cognizant of the fact that uh, this is I think a great opportunity for them to get more people into the game and to see the game and hopefully generate some more revenue. Like I think that's
Absolutely.
definitely part of the equation. But knowing the people that are there, I think this is genuinely coming from a place of life is lousy right now. What's in our power to make it marginally better? We can make all our content free. Here you go. So,
Well, hey, let me ask you this.
sure.
In addition to what they've done, what's one bonus that you think they could do if they were asking you, hey, Patrick, what
What
can we
bonus to
do?
turn on?
Yeah. What would you like to see?
That's an interesting question. Um, I like I mean, more XP is always great. I like from a thematic perspective, I like the buddy bonus idea as opposed to just a flat XP bonus. Because I think it kind of promotes a sense of community, like online community. So I kind of like that as a thematic thing. I don't know. To be honest, most of the bonuses, and this is all right. Remember, this is in addition to um, bonus weekends, right? Like the only thing
Yeah.
that here that's really a bonus weekend is the buddy bonus. The other things are events that come in and out. I don't know. I would say maybe less time on the anniversary event and maybe throw in a Night Revels time frame or something. I know people like that one, and
Night Revels is by far, in my opinion, the best event, and it has the
sure,
most gear options. I was thinking something along the lines of, what about a weekend, greater discovery weekend? So plus 10% name loot chances, um, or maybe
sure,
something, maybe 50% more runes and threads of fate. I don't know. I mean, that's very raid specific, but
it is.
the name loot one's more generic for all quests that drop name loot. Something like that that was more loot focused might be fun.
I mean, I'm not really thinking in those kind of terms because I think of that as a weekend bonus.
Yeah.
And I think those would be interesting weekend bonuses just to have. Um, especially in conjunction with, hey, you can go wherever you want and farm name loot at a higher chance. That's
Yeah.
cool. I don't know that I really have. I mean, from an events standpoint and like what they could put on there that exists. I think Night Revel's the only thing that I would kind of be mildly interested in, and that's not even from a standpoint of I really want to go farm the content. It's just like, hey, well, every life you can run those challenges and get a lot of XP out of it. So, there's not really more XP is really kind of the only thing that is kind of really exciting to me at this point.
Hmm.
Unless there's new stuff with the events, which there wouldn't be. I mean, there's not enough time for there's not enough development time for them to kind of turn that around, really, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, if they could bump up the um, reward weights. I can't even speak now. Reward rates on the events, like the number of tokens you get from the mimics, or the number of party favors you get, or if it's night revels, the number of
sure.
candies and everything like that you get. That would be fun too. So that in combination with those events, which are around for a shorter period of time, maybe, you know, allowing folks to get stuff more quickly, that'd be fun.
I don't
I don't
really
know.
feel like the Night Revels ingredient amounts are off base. It
Oh
did
no, they're
not
not.
take a whole lot of effort for me to get the stuff that I wanted this time around, and that including getting something from last time that I didn't get then and only had a mild interest in.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the content thing is really awesome. I did see some people, well, but that doesn't include classes and races. I'm like, no, it doesn't. and that would be a much more logistical problem if they did,
Yeah,
because
'cause
after April 30th, you would no longer be able to play this character.
yeah,
So
that
that
would
would be
create some
problematic.
negatives for sure.
Um, but yeah. Well, anyways, one of the things I wanted to do today is kind of talk about content. Hey, you're returning to the game. You haven't been here in a while. You suddenly can go anywhere in the game. Um, let maybe top 5 adventure packs to kind of or areas to explore that maybe you haven't before. And maybe let's just exclude the expansion packs because at least Ravenloft and Charn are probably pretty obvious as a great place to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't, just as a real quick thing, if you haven't done Ravenloft, because you don't own it, that has got to be one of the best sets of content just in terms of the storyline and the quest um, feel that I've seen the game put out in the last, 6, 7 years easily. Very, very
Right.
enjoyable. Can't speak highly, especially the first 2 chains there. Those first 8 quests are just top notch. So, but yeah, that's an expansion pack, like you said. So,
You got some top favorites that you'd kind of steer people towards?
well, um, there's a couple quests that I'd really recommend checking out. Especially, I really enjoy White Plume Mountain, for example, and
Mm.
it's another uh, classic module. It's a really fun quest. It's got some really great loot in it, and it's not super super challenging, but it's very unique in terms of the challenges it presents. So I really enjoy that one. I don't enjoy the rest of that pack so much. There's 4 other quests in there I would
Sure.
kind of recommend you not experience if you're getting back into the game and you don't want to get annoyed. They're very
I mean,
challenging and they
kind of a
have
big
some.
deal's not too bad.
No, it's not. Kind of a big deal is not too bad.
It's just
Really,
long.
there's yeah. The prison one is really the one which, although it has the floating disc thing, which is a neat mechanic, that quest is just a
Is
bit of
it
a challenge.
is it a neat mechanic?
Uh,
I don't.
maybe not.
I think there's some people groaning right now. Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe conceptually, it's a neat mechanic like underwater action and airship combat are. Like,
Hmm.
oh, this could be fun to play with, and then you play with it and like, I hate this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe it could. There's other ways in which it could be implemented. I guess would probably be a better way to put that. Um,
It's just
so
clunky.
yeah,
That's my thing. It's just clunky.
sure. Hmm. But White Plume Mountain as a quest especially, no doubt one of the ones I really enjoy that's come out more recently. So
Yeah, it's got some really solid loot in there that you mentioned. Good time to farm it. A lot of
hmm
that loot is still relevant. So
hmm
um, let's see. I think Giant Hole would be one that I would kind of give a shout out. Although if you don't own it yet, you probably like that should be pretty high on your list because it has great heroic and epic range content.
hmm
Uh, the loot there is pretty dated. The name loot is pretty dated. But it's a lot of content. There's what 9, 10 quests plus a heroic and an epic raid.
yeah,
Granted, the raids don't get run very much, but it's good It's a good time to kind of check it out and see why you would want to buy it. Um,
hmm sure, absolutely. You know, just going with the most recent, not maybe the most recent, but the second most recent update. If you haven't had a chance to play with Keep on the Borderlands, that's a
hmm
lot of fun. I
Yeah,
really
that's a
enjoyed
good
that.
one.
Get a horse. That's a lot of fun. And especially the epic versions give you a lot of gear that's really great for use at level
Yeah.
20, 21, 22, which is, an area where gear has been for a long time relatively outdated. So, I mean, I think it's worthwhile, especially if you're coming back to the game and you haven't experienced some of these packs recently. I think that's a great place to start again. And again, another um, uh, classic module. So,
Yeah, it's a good one. Um, I think let's give a shout out to Delares or Threnel, more Delares. If you
hmm
don't have the Mantle, the World Shaper, or Voice of the Master, those would be good things to pick up. There's an epic voice now, which is pretty
yeah,
nice.
hmm
Um, I would even say maybe you might want to get extras, so you can make a Master's Gift
yep,
somewhere along the road. Although
Absolutely.
those are kind of it's a little harder to make these days just because people don't tend to run those raids very much.
Yeah.
But there's an option there to get some stuff. Um,
Yeah. I think Threnal's interesting because Threnal's been around in the game pretty much since day one.
yeah, it's
But
been around a
it's
while.
it's probably an adventure pack that people didn't buy once the game went to free to play and then adventure pack based, or at least when you looked at the list of, hey, here's the packs we highly recommend, it was one that probably wasn't high on that list for a lot of reasons. But it's definitely, I enjoy it. It's got a very classic Dungeons and Dragons feel to it, in my opinion. And especially since they fixed some of the more annoying quests like the coil one, it's 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 definitely not on the high on the annoyance list. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So
I don't know.
that's a good throwback pack to look at. One
It
you might
at
not have
least doesn't have a
touched in a while.
fail mechanic now, but it's not.
It, it it's not fun. It's just
No,
not. No. Yeah. Mm,
it's a
yeah.
little clunky. I think that would be a good one for them to kind of do what they did with Delaras and Catacombs in
Hmm.
that regard, and kind of polish off some of the rough edges that are
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Particularly the problem where you can have to repeat east or west before you can do south. Uh,
Yeah.
if you're not careful, that's really annoying in
Yeah.
terms
Clean
of
up the
doing those.
NPC chaining.
Yeah,
Polish off some of the rough edges on a couple of the quests. Maybe buff the loot a little bit. But otherwise, it would be and give it an epic version or a legendary version. That'd be fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
There's some room there.
Hmm.
Some other quests and content that I would say, uh, slave lords. Could be a good time if you have never had slave lords to maybe make an item. They are still somewhat relevant. There's some things there that you can get that in combinations that you can't find. Also,
Absolutely.
they have really gone away from one item resistance. Sort of
Hmm.
resist all. And slave lords, I think, is pretty much the highest you can get in terms of a resistance bonus on something. So that's still pretty relevant. Um,
Yeah. Well, I think it's great because they lowered the cost to build make the
mhm.
items drastically, which is great.
More,
So
I don't think
you
that was mostly heroic though. I don't think they lowered the epic, did they?
a little bit, I think, but I could
Mm.
be wrong. It, they also bumped the drop rates though, so that might have
Yes.
been more what made that work for you. But this is a great way if you're coming back to the game to really get some very flexible loot that's at a base level that'll allow you to function well in most content and on most difficulties. So it's just a nice, along with the Ravenloft and the Shard and stuff, it really kind of gives you that baseline. If you're logging in after 5 years and you look at your gear and you're feeling like it's just outdated.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Um,
and they're fun too.
yeah, I enjoy them. Uh,
Yeah, me too.
if you've never been there, probably the kind of the top thing on my list besides Ravenloft would be go check out Haunted Halls of Evening Star.
I was
Um,
gonna mention that one too.
that
Yeah.
one's a really fun, amazing quest. You could spend a day easily running around in that quest, and
Oh
getting
yeah.
in all the nooks and crannies if you wanted to. Um, but I think that's one of the more interesting dungeons and experiences. It feels pen and paper
It
dungeon.
really does. Yeah.
Uh, the items there are not most of them haven't aged super well. Although I would say that the shield and the spell absorb trinket are still
Yeah.
good. Um,
Absolutely.
and there's at least one encounter in there that's not like a really easy encounter. It might
No.
might pop you upside the head. But
Mhm.
if you've never been in there, I think this is a fantastic time to go experience that quest. It's one of the single best quest experiences in the game, I think. Uh,
It is. It's such a unique experience, and it's really worth your time in there, especially if you're trappy or
mhm.
roguey or that sort of thing. A lot of fun stuff to do in there for sure.
I would also recommend Temple of Elemental Evil, uh,
Ooh.
with a soft recommend, uh, just from the standpoint that I think the dungeon the work that they did in the dungeon, particularly the second one, in terms of look and feel, is really great. Uh,
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
has mechanics that I'm not super fan of, like here's a bunch of mobs and go find this little thing in the corner somewhere in this grass in this big space. But if you haven't ever run it, I recommend running it once at least, just to kind of see what it is. And hey, who knows, you might find that you really like it. Um, there is
Yeah,
some neat stuff in there too.
it's probably my least favorite of the classic module translations. But that said, I agree with you. For on a if you've never done a one-time run through, it's worth a one-time run through to experience it. And it's definitely, especially I felt like the first part had a lot of things that were consistent with the um, pen and paper
Right.
look and feel. And the second part, you're right. There's some unique things in there, and it has a very challenging end fight.
It does.
With unique mechanics and everything like that. So if you go in there and if you're
You
doing a
go
no
on normal.
spoilers sort of walkthrough on it, bring your res items.
Yeah. Go on
You'll need
normal.
them.
Just to experience it. Like,
Yeah,
I agree with
that's
you. I
true.
think it's the my least favorite of the classic module adaptations, but I don't feel like that comes from an adaptation standpoint. It's a game mechanics thing. Like
Yeah,
the first part one is very much a here's a group of mobs, here's a group of mobs, here's a group of mobs, here's a group of mobs. Oh look, some flavor stuff, more mobs, more like it's just a lot of mobs, um,
yeah,
and they're
mhm,
kind of all over the place, and so it is also kind of mazy, right? Like I mean, it's a dungeon, a classic dungeon, right? Like there's you can go again, you can spend a day in here getting lost, um, and I'm sure people have. There's guides and stuff if you want to kind of get more of a streamlined path. Uh, but having said that, uh, I think it's worth it to get through one. There's enough fun stuff in one that you can kind of get through it. Uh, but I mean, I like two in a lot of ways. Uh, it's got some unique mobs. It's got some really nice looks to it. Um, I mean, if you want to fill out some Monster Manual stuff, it's a great place to go too. A lot of these places are. If you're interested in filling out some Monster Manuals, that go to new places. But in any case, I mean, I like two, except for the aspect of here's four big areas. Go find a little shiny thing in one corner of each of them. That's
yeah.
where I get off board with that. Um,
I agree with you.
the end fight's
Now,
hard, but I don't have a problem with the end fight. I didn't do it on hardcore, but uh
mhm, no, no, not at all. Yeah, it's not that at all. But
I do know at least one person who did complete it on hardcore, at the expense of four
mhm.
of their six party members. So
Nice.
and I know someone else who died in there trying to solo it as well, which I think was kind of a strange choice, but I admire the boldness. Um, I just skipped it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. If I was picking an adventure area that I'd want people to check out, I would probably want to throw a mention here to Thunderholm. Uh, this is probably one of my favorite adventure areas in the game. It just very much has this feel of a underground dwarven fortress,
Hmm.
Mines of Moria sort of thing going there.
Yeah.
Just really a lot of fun. I really enjoy the experience of that adventure area. It's in the Shadow Under Thunderholm Adventure Pack, which is only has 2 raids as a part of it. But you don't really necessarily have to run the raids, even though running around the adventure area flags you for the raids. But just you can get a ton of XP in there, and there's a lot of named mobs in there. It's just a really fun place to hang out and really just
Sure.
experience the ambiance. I like that one a lot.
Stormhorns is a really beautiful place to kind of run around in too, in terms of adventure areas, and it has some fun quests. There
It does.
Some of them are a little longer and whatnot, but I like the area as well. That is an expansion though, um,
That is. Yeah.
although it's not. It's certainly not high on the list. Is really what I was saying. Let's exclude expansions. It's really about Sharn and Ravenloft, because this conversation obviously starts with Sharn and Ravenloft, because you can still get really relevant, great gear out of both of those places.
Oh yeah,
So
those would be the top two on my list. If you're
no,
coming back to the game and you haven't gotten those expansions, definitely dive in there. I don't enjoy Sharn from a quest standpoint as much as I enjoy Ravenloft, but
Agree.
Yeah, that's the loot in there is relatively accessible. Yeah, the drop rates are decent, and everything you get's going to be useful in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah, like from a quest, like just running the quest perspective, Ravenloft for me is like A plus, and Sharn is like A minus. So
yeah, they're both really good. I
yeah.
wouldn't, but I like Ravenloft better for sure.
Any other content you want to kind of maybe steer people towards if they haven't checked it out yet?
One that is older, but I've always enjoyed is the Reaver's Reach area. Maybe not the Stealer of Souls quest per se, which is the end cap quest, but I
I
always
like that one.
enjoyed ETK, Enter the Kobold. I always enjoyed the Monastery of the Scorpion. Um, you know, and all three of those quests are very unique in terms of their mechanics, the puzzles, what's going on in them. If you haven't had a chance to go out there and experience that area, it's really fun. I enjoy it. I like the story as well in terms of how it builds on what you were doing in Giant Hold, for example, and and Tempest Spine. It continues the story of Sorjek. So
Yeah, I
I
will
like it.
say that there's a soft warn here in that this content is I would say it's generally higher than most of the other content of its kind or of its level range. But I do enjoy those quests as well. Just the end fights are a little harder than
They
specifically
are.
Monastery and ETK are both a little harder than your average quest for a level range.
Yes. Hmm.
It's I don't think the end fight is it's not as bad as New Invasion, but
No.
it's more difficult than maybe you're used to at that particularly at that level range if you haven't run
Yeah.
it before. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
that loot is so outdated. It's comical,
Yeah, it
but it
is.
is fun. I like Stealer of Souls. The only knock I have against Stealer of Souls is the flagging mechanic in it. This would be another place
Hmm.
if they it would. I mean, we've been talking about this for years. Would be a great place to give an epic version and start by tweaking the loot
Yep.
significantly,
Yeah.
and uh, smoothing over the flagging mechanic for that raid for sure. Or it's not a raid, but um, it's just not a. It's a pain to flag for it, and there's no reason to uh, try to do the end fight for loot that's. I mean, it was outdated 2 updates after it came out in the first place. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, and the mechanic for building the armor was always flawed, even with the
well,
fixes. So
they made it no longer random, which was nice.
yeah.
I at least
Hmm.
appreciated that. But
And you can see what you got.
yeah, that made that a much better experience for sure. I don't think I have any other ones I want to give. Well, maybe Sands of Manectarin is kind of a fun area if you haven't been there. There's a lot of quests that you can kind of go out in there and explore.
Yeah.
I mean, Bloodstone
You know,
is
it's,
Bloodstone is no longer a hot item, but the Ring of the Spellstoring still is. If
yeah,
nothing
sure.
else, if you're looking for places to farm gear,
Mhm.
um,
Well, if we're talking about older stuff that you enjoy, I always enjoy 3BC as well. Three Barrel Cove is a fun place to go in heroics or in epics. In heroics, it's great XP.
yeah,
You can't beat the fire caves, for example.
right.
They did refresh the loot relatively recently. There's a couple items out there. There's a nice short sword or a nice dagger you can get, for example. But and then on epics they're fun. I don't know. I just always enjoy those. It's also in epics. That's the place where you can get the Gibber's Blade. So if you're
Great
coming
time
back
to
from
farm
the
it.
game and you don't have one of those, take some time to grab that in the next between now and April 30th.
My recommendation for your sanity in that, what I did was I tried to run it twice in a day. I'd grab a character and I just run it twice, and then move on to other stuff. That way you mostly stay off of ransack, and usually you're gonna miss a day anyways. Even if you only have one character, twice a day, every other day, it works. I was rotating like through three characters at a time. I'd do 2 a day for one of those three, and just kind of rotate through it and pulled a bunch. Although I went on a super hot streak there. Pulled
Yeah,
like
you did.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 7 or 8 and like 15 runs or something silly like that. I didn't pull them all, but I walked away with them, which was mind-bogglingly crazy. I think I've taken one home since in like 3 years since then. So I think it's evened out a little bit, but not that I was running it as much. But yeah, 3-Barrel Co is good. There's also an Epic Rapier that's pretty good. And if you're a buckler user, there's a nice buckler, level 24 buckler, and the boots there are still one of the. There's a set of boots that have striding, freedom of movement, and 33% fire absorption. I mean,
I have those on all my characters. Yep.
I don't have one on each character, but I definitely with Too Hot to Handle in the raid routine, like there's a pair there or a pair or two that I try to keep in the shared bank to pass around, and I'm lucky if I remember to get at least one back in the bank for the next run. But yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah. So there you go. There's some ideas on content you can run. And big idea. It was a great time to go explore nooks and crannies. I would assume that if you don't have all the content, you probably don't have all of the monster manuals. But it's a good way to fill out your monster manuals too, is to go into different areas that you haven't been before. That's how you're gonna get the hunters pretty easy. And work on some of the Slayer parts are a little harder, but you can at least get some hunter stuff in there as well. Yeah, there you go. Should we move on to the rest of the game news?
Sure.
So update 46 had its first preview. This is all obviously subject to change as it's on the preview server. Preview 1 of update 46 opened this week through Thursday. It was like Tuesday to Thursday. And they had a dev event on Wednesday. It sounded like this was somewhat of an early release, but I'm not entirely sure kind of where they are. In any case, there was the new adventure pack is the Lost Gatekeepers adventure pack, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quests.
5.
So, and this is these are level 3 or level 32, which may be the biggest level spread of all. I don't think there's. It's a big level gap. I did not run any of them, but there you go. So those were out. People were generally okay with them. I didn't see anything that was too red flaggy in terms of the content.
Yeah, I haven't read them or experienced them either. I tend to avoid content on Lamania. My understanding is that a lot of the quests are based in the Cerulean Hills, though, adventure area. I could be wrong, but at least that's. And then there's also the talk about the new Gatekeepers Grove as well.
Yeah,
which is a separate area, and they're moving.
We'll touch on that.
Okay, touching that. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's later in the release notes.
Okay.
So, named loot, we'll come back to that. So here's the release notes. So in addition to these, the new named loot and the adventure pack, here's some of the stuff that it contains. Druid Ghost Pack will no longer make players in wolf form untargetable to other players. That's helpful. My condolences if this happened to you on hardcore.
Yeah.
Paladins no longer gain the benefits of the Tier 4 Vigor of Life without training the enhancement first. There was a question about this because some people said, well, but it's not working. I said, well, it is working. It's just applying to any character that has more than 0 levels of Paladin. I'm going to fix that.
Okay.
Paladin Righteous Command now requires level 2 Paladin spell components. Sanctified Vial works with the described level prerequisites, and they fix some typos. Items. The Sentient XP Stones are now able to be looted from chests more reliably and are less likely to get stuck in your inventory. That's nice. Those are fun things to find, so...
yeah.
Fix some more typos. Deprecated items will now automatically be cleaned out of bags.
That's helpful.
I'm assuming this means the stuff that we don't use anymore.
Yeah, that's stuff like the the Night Revels ingredients once they go bad at the first of the year or whatever, and they become rotten. I've noticed that every year up until going through this year, when you get around to October again, you look in your bag, you're going to have a bunch of those still hanging out
Sure.
there. So it sounds like
Um,
they just get automatically removed now, which is nice.
I'm wondering if this includes because the items that you get from quest rewards in a couple places that were like old crafty bits. Because we don't use those
Yeah.
anymore, right? Like the mystified fish, I think or mysterious fish or something. Mysterious
Those
bottle.
still drop in the reward tables, though.
Yeah, I know, but we don't use them, right? Like they're
No, we don't. Not that I'm aware of.
yeah,
I can't think of a recipe that uses any of those anymore.
yeah, kind of weird.
I don't know if
Let's
those
see.
are actually depreciated or not, though. Or
Yeah, would they call them deprecated or not? I don't know.
yeah,
Some items from Keep on the Borderlands have more appropriate material types. Intriguing.
yeah. I think they're, you know, hopefully going to be looking at the material types. That would be nice because it seems like that's something that what used to be a big deal earlier in the game, and then
Hmm.
has kind of gone through a couple iterations with the loot iterations, and is a little odd these days. I think. I don't know. Going back to that Paladin Righteous Command thing, by the way, I think they fixed that the wrong way. What they should have done is removed the requirement for spell components on all the other spells. I'm just saying.
Just take spell components out of the game.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think the main reason they leave them in the game though is inventory parity. Um,
Yeah.
although they've talked about having a bag for them, but and not being able to get the tech to work or something, or have to like figure out how to make the tech work. I kind of view it as an inventory parity thing because they're probably not carrying as many weapons as some of my characters are.
That's
But
true. But they're still annoying.
yeah, I know. Uh, it's kind of an annoying part of managing the game, right? So, let's see. Quest. The majority of Gatekeeper NPCs have moved to the new area, the Gatekeeper's Grove, which can be reached via the Stormreach Harbor. This includes all of the following: Zarnoth the Vigilant, the Gatekeeper favorite NPC. Varan Tertius, the Schism Shard Collector. The quest givers and quest entrances for all of the following quests: Temple of Elemental Evil, Tavern Brawl, Slave Lords, White Plume Mountain. Teleport NPCs to the following locations. The guy that so these were I'm not actually sure if I don't know if I've ever used the guy that teleports you to the White Plume Mountain and other Tales quest givers. I think it was vaguely aware that it existed, but
I don't think I have either.
there's a gatekeeper that teleports you to the Trials of Archon series and the Devil's Gambit quest givers, which are kind of spread out, and then the White Plume Mountain ones apparently as well. My big question with this is, can I teleport to this location?
I would imagine, much like the Hall of Heroes, it's going to be available from your teleporter and your guild airship drop
I
locations. But I
mean,
don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. But
yeah,
I mean, I wasn't a fan of the Hall of Heroes in terms of its size and how it's kind of like all spread out. But it was becoming populated enough that it made a lot of sense.
yeah. Now they took like what's I don't know. I don't understand why we're taking away the whole. I guess from a thematic standpoint, they want to kind of condense but this move just seems kind of weird to me. It seems less convenient for one. Like, how easy is it to get here? It's in the harbor. Okay, so I have to teleport to the harbor and then go there. Like, I don't really want to walk extra distance. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is the Feywild expansion pack that's supposed to be coming? Is it Gatekeeper based as well?
Maybe. So
Yeah,
they
I
did
don't.
say that the night. So they're looking at adventure pack. I think it was this one is supposed to kind of lead into that, into the Feywild expansion, which is I think supposed to come in kind of in the summer time frame.
So this might be a
I'm
lead
going off
into
of
the
memory
expansion
here
pack
though.
then. That might be why they're doing it.
Maybe. I'm still just kind of immediately the two things are how much more of a pain is it to get to this place, right? Because if the airship doesn't go there, then these places all became less convenient to get to because they were mostly in the Hall of Heroes. And two, what are we doing with the Hall of Heroes? Like, what's the point? Is it just gonna
Yeah.
become a
What?
monument to hardcore season? Like we'll have
I don't
plaques
know.
for each hardcore season or something? Like,
Well, at
um,
this point, they could definitely chop it in half. Cut off the whole side where all these quests currently exist, and then take
sure,
it from being two levels to being one level. Because there's just not going to be that much stuff in there anymore. And I mean,
right.
it's going to feel like the Forgotten Realms Hall of Heroes, which I don't know if you've been in that one recently, but that's
Only to go places.
yeah, it's very empty. The Eberron one was actually populated, and it's
Yeah.
I
I
don't
would
know.
like to at least see them do something productive with the Hall of Heroes in this space now. Um, I mean, even if it's just a museum to different things, that would be fine. Um, but
Sure.
like it needs something there. I don't know. It feels like it needs something there, and I thought the quest being there was fine, although it doesn't make a lot of lore sense, I guess you could say, which I guess what they're doing here. But I don't know.
Yeah. They should put
Well,
some trainers in the Hall of Heroes. I mean, they have the
yeah,
Epic Trainer, but I mean, they have a lot of the little things you need, like an auctioneer and a banker and a, tavern and everything. But I mean, if they're going to turn it into more like a quest hub, but you have your airship for that too. So I don't know if that's really
make it a
all that
hub.
helpful.
I think a
Yeah.
general hub would be kind of interesting, like
Hmm.
a one stop shop place. That could work.
Yeah. Bring
Um,
in some scroll vendors, maybe, and some potion vendors and some things like that. Sure.
and hey, while we're at it, maybe reduce the cost of the wings in terms of plat. I
Oh,
know.
the Reaper wings.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like 1,000,000 plat. It's just a lot. If you
Especially if you have to
because you can't keep
rebuy
it.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big plat sink for people who train TR a lot. So,
Hmm.
let's see other stuff. Korthos sacrifices. The underwater section has been adjusted to provide a function for the gates, levers, and doors that previously did nothing. Cool.
Okay.
That's the one where you go rescue the mayor's daughter.
Yeah. Hmm.
Korthos Redemption, a waypoint to enter the final battle of the quest Redemption, has been added for when the barriers would normally prevent entry. So you can't lock somebody out of the last fight, essentially. Uh,
Okay.
Wayloon, Thrill the Hunt. Some erroneous cosmetic changes have been reverted. Oops, that's
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of
know what
funny.
that is.
I saw something about it. There's some cosmetic stuff that Halo changed. So they changed something
Okay.
somewhere else, and then it kind of haloed into that change. Uh, let's see. All epic XP rewards for Catacombs quests have been increased significantly. Cool. Might actually
Hey.
put that on my epic circuit. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
they're very fast quests, so that makes sense.
they are. They're things hit surprisingly hard there on Epic and Reaper though. Just saying. Epic XP for the Mystery of Dalera's Tomb and Free Dalaras have also been increased significantly. Great. That was kind of the one takeaway I had from that content running through them is that the XP wasn't super enticingly great uh, for the effort involved. Let's see. Fixed a bunch of typos. The inventory details drop down tab now properly displays the crit multiplier of your equipped weapons. Nice.
That's helpful. Yeah.
Death Watches You cosmetic should now display properly in all races. You got that. That's great. You want that. They fixed a problem with many secret doors that made them too easy to spot. The point of your spot skill not to the point of your spot skill not mattering at all. Their search DCs are not affected. These doors' spot DCs will now scale with level and difficulty as intended, and their spot DC values will be 5 below their search DCs. This bug only affects doors, not traps or control panels. And also, an otherworldly hut has appeared in the Stormreach Harbor. This would be a Feywild thing, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then there was loot. They went back to listing out all of the loot uh, and stuff.
Which is
Uh,
cool.
yeah, I certainly like it better than having to go in and, and look at it because you're not going to get feedback from me by doing that. Not that you're likely to get a lot of feedback from me on the loot, anyways. Um, but we do have the loot that we can kind of look through. Anything kind of stand out for you?
Yeah. So I noticed that there's a good number of artifacts in this loot, which
Yep.
is really cool. And the artifacts have 4 effects plus 3 slots on them in a lot of cases, which is
I think that's
very
consistent
nice.
with what we've
Yeah,
had.
yeah. But the boots are very nice with the high decks, the enhanced ghostly, the quality and insightful dodge both on them. That's a nice defensive item.
Hmm.
Um, the bracers you were mentioning, the fact that resistances are generally split out. I believe those bracers have insightful resistance plus 8 on them, which would be all saves. Um,
Which
unless I'm
bracers?
the
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Bright Lord,
Yep.
the signal of the flame, the ones with the charisma and the speed.
Yep. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. It certainly seems
So
to be.
yeah, there's a really nice rage cloak.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is nice as well. I see where they're targeting specific builds with some of these, which is really great. I mean, a lot of the loot really, I think, fits well with what they're trying to accomplish from that perspective. Some interesting effects in there, like there's a necklace that has exceptional prudent skills bonus on it, which is not something I've seen before.
I think it's new.
Yeah, there's an orb too, the kinetic sphere, which is really nice if you're doing a lot of force damage.
Yep.
Got very high kinetic lore. The energy siphon, which is a nice feature. I, we have evil absorption in large degrees on items here as well, which is nice, especially for certain raids that you might want to be running, where there's a lot of unresistible evil damage. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of items that I think kind of across the board, the items are pretty obvious to see. Oh, this item is great for this build or these kind of builds, or these items are very kind of ubiquitously useful for a wide variety of builds. There's not stuff that's like, why is this with that? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't understand why that's like that kind of stuff. So I appreciate
yeah.
that's there. So
Mhm. A lot of quality bonuses too, which is nice because those aren't
yeah,
super active. A lot of trinkets, which is a slot I think that hasn't got a lot of new items recently.
it's true.
And it's not one that, as I recall, is really included in a lot of the set bonuses. That's kind of one of the challenge sometimes when you're bringing in a
Yeah,
pack like this and you're throwing out a necklace or some gloves or a cloak, because those can often contradict a set bonus, and that makes it tough for a single item to really do that. So
it really
I'm
does.
excited about the trinkets. Those look, generally speaking, very nice in terms of their
Hmm.
feature set.
Yeah,
So there's an insightful trinket or a insight trinket that has insightful insight, regular insight at very high levels as well, along with some other defensive stuff that's great for tanks, for example. So
yeah, and I think there's also some filigrees, which all look kind of nice.
mhm.
Um, they're smaller sets, and I think they're generally speaking uh, less powerful, but they're also I think kind of pretty easy to slide in because there's fewer. They're all 4-piece sets, and has some decent stuff on them. I do like. There's one that whenever you tumble, gain a plus 10% action boost to movement speed for 10 seconds.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
at 4 pieces though, that's a bit rough. Forget that, but
it's not too bad.
no. There's I noticed that one of them, that same set has the plus 5% missile deflection.
Yep.
That's a new stat that they added a couple updates ago that we really haven't seen a lot of itemization for yet. Um, that looks like they're coming back to that.
Yeah.
I think I noticed there's a dagger too, that has the blood rage on it, which is the
Yes.
old scourge choker feature that
Hmm.
doesn't exist in a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
Interesting they have it on a dagger.
Yeah.
Mm,
There's
That's
some
for
fun
your
stuff in here for sure.
yeah. hmm
I think
Wh-
people will
One thing I wanted to mention
find
too,
stuff to
there's a
like.
trinket. Yeah, there's a trinket that has insightful sheltering plus 28 on it. Um, and as we've talked about with the resistances, the other thing they've been doing is they've been splitting out the physical and the magical sheltering a lot. So getting an insightful that covers both, that's a nice little uh, bump too. That's actually almost like 2 effects in one when you see those. So
Yeah, that's been a little bit more hit or miss because there's some stuff in Sharn that is some of it is both and some of it is only one. It's kind of weird how
Yeah.
they played with that a little bit. But
Hmm. I
uh,
prefer it all being one, but
I
what are you
mean,
gonna do?
obviously,
Yeah.
like you said, it's two effects for one. Um, anyways, there's the update 46 preview. I think it was pretty successful. Some interesting stuff to be had. I didn't feel like there was anything earth shattering. I don't think you're going to be needing to go completely redo your gear sets or anything like that. But there's
No.
definitely some nice stuff in here that's going to be kind of fun to play with and see what you get. Uh, I think there's an item in here that probably any one of my character or each of my characters would probably like could find an item in here and would like to get it. Uh, but I don't think anything. I also don't think anything is like totally outside the what I've got and is gonna completely change. Like I don't need to go get it to keep up or anything like that this time around. So
Yeah. There's no pale lavender ironstone or
yeah,
gibber's blade sort of like must have on all characters
yeah.
item.
Let's see. Bonus days. You can get double bonus or double commendations of valor through March 23rd. Through Monday for some reason. Uh, the store sales, hack and stash sales, so 30% off of Slayer boosts, loot boosts, treasure hunter elixirs, and select shared storage through March 26th. You can also get 5 potions of lesser restoration with the coupon code LESSRESTO, LESSRESTO, through March 26th. That will take us to community news. The 374th Chronicle. Again, this is from 2 weeks ago. We did not have one this week. MMOCentral.com interviewed Executive Director Rob Ciccolini, that's Severlin. We talked about that in our last show. Axel asks one of the big questions in the video: does kill count matter? No.
No. Still watch the video, but no.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun stat to see, and it's kind of a fun stat to play with, and you can have some interesting games with it. But does it matter? No. At least I don't think so. Doug Glendower is celebrating his 3rd anniversary with DDO Stream on March 21st, so you can check that out on Twitch, the recorded version of that. The guild for the week. The Floral Odor Appreciation Society is looking for players who enjoy playing without the rush. This Kenneth-based guild is looking for new, old, or returning players to give Slow Life a try. I do like the play on the flower sniffers there. So
Yeah, that's good stuff.
the Chronicle comment: how do you most frequently heal your character? Bottles of rum. I mean, it's not really the most frequently way, but I feel like it's the most fun way to heal your character.
Oh, absolutely. Either you're healed or you don't care anymore.
We got a shout out for our last show discussing the PAX news. Dido Players News has the next Monopoly. Mickey's Delirium is a long-running blog where Mickey chronicles her rating and more. You can check out the latest there. Samus Grobo frequently runs DDO on his Twitch channel and follows Cordovan every Wednesday on DDO Stream. This week on DDO Stream, you can check out shows from DDO PL, a tiefling in the city. Alex and Lynn wrapped up the anniversary, and Brock and Friends roleplayed. Also on Twitch, Voodoo Spice raided, Nubacabra is level 30 on the hardcore server, and Strimtom pushes the envelope. This was a rough week for level 30s on hardcore because I think I heard like at least 6 died this week, including at least a couple that were pretty high on the leaderboard. So, condolences.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah. On YouTube, Dirty William runs a Sunday static group. Ice Damon helps the people, and Force Plays has a guide to The Alchemist. So you were looking on learning The Alchemist. I haven't really started playing The Alchemist, but it definitely feels like the Monk of casters in that there's a lot of like the finishing moves if you really want to amplify its power. So there's a lot of stuff you kind of gotta play with and learn how to use. On the Let's Talk shop, they are looking for a character artist. So if you are interested in working for SSG in that regards, don't forget to get your free anniversary gift, the Sentient Dragon Gem. The coupon code I believe is Happy14. And Cordovan plays the home game on this week's weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream with some Q&A as well. Some other videos, also Voodoo Spice had a loot preview video, which we'll link to as well. So he went through the loot that we kind of glossed over for the most part. So if you're interested in getting a more in-depth look in that, that's an option. I think it's about 50 minutes, so you definitely want a little more in-depth. D&D night on DDO stream. Conveniently, social distancing works for this as well. So we are still doing that Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. On twitch.tv/DDO stream. Tonight's episode is Heroes of Battle Rise, where I'm a player, and that is hosted by Evil Beaker, our DM. DDO Kasplat. Stay tuned. Our plans may change. We weren't gonna have we weren't gonna be doing DDO Kasplat until June. Like a great many things right now, the Little League baseball season is suspended and is not happening at the moment. So we might have more free time, or I might have more free time to do that now. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. Let's see. That'll take us to our lightning post. Edwards said he liked playing with fresh people on hardcore last season very much, especially when you could come from Wayfinder. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I imagine so. There'd be people here. So a mega server would be nice, but I wouldn't leave myself earned level 170 ship behind without a fight. Yeah, first of all, if you've got your guild up to level 170 by yourself, well done. That's impressive.
Absolutely.
And also, no, you definitely should not give that up without a fight. Raising the level cap over the years to 40 is an interesting thing as long as it's not interfering with the regular game. Legendary reincarnations would demoralize new players completely. Yeah, that's probably true. I've actually been toying with this in my head over the last week or so as I've needed things to think about other than the way life is going at the moment. Do you think there should be kind of a quote end to what you can build onto your character? Like should they release a new Reaper enhancement tree to give people more things to grind Reaper points for, or should they just let it end? Right? Should there be an end, a more or less, other than releasing new races and classes? Should there be more epic destinies or more past live? Like, should there be a legendary reincarnation option?
I think that it's okay for there to be an end to a single character progression, or at least it advanced very, very slowly at some point. I'm a big fan of the tradition of this game supporting the traditional D&D experience, which is that you run a campaign and then that character kind of gets retired for a little while, and you run a different character. Um, and the idea that a single character has to continue to progress and you can run one character only, I'm not sure that's super helpful, especially not in an environment where you're doing TRing a lot and
Yeah.
then that character's power then applies to lower levels in content where it wasn't originally anticipated. Um, I would rather see an enhancement system similar to the Reaper trees at cap, where once you got to level 30, you were earning some sort of experience for the quest you're running, and then you could spend that experience much like you spend your destiny experience to get your past lives. So it goes from whatever 6 million down to zero, to buy uh, power for your character in various ways, and maybe that's actually being able to buy a past life while you're still at cap, um, or maybe that's other enhancements that are
Mm-hmm.
available only at level 30. Um, but I don't think that continuing to expand the Reaper system with more trees is really the best way to go, for example, or raising the level cap to 40, um,
Right.
especially if you're going to create then a legendary reincarnation system on top
Oof.
of the four we already have,
Right.
plus sentient, plus Reaper. Um, no, I mean, and like what they did with sentient's great. You can create progression systems at cap in other ways. Things that can build. So, and like with the minor artifacts and such, I like what they're doing with the filigrees and with some of that. That's added some energy to at cap experiences, and there's ways to do it without a level cap raise and without more past lives worked in there.
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth a little bit because on the one hand, I would love for there to be more incentive for people to have more than one character, right? The more
Yeah.
systems you have that don't really ever end, and the more power you can get on one character, means that a not insignificant portion of the population is going to focus on that one character, and those characters are become continually, not exponentially, but at least linearly more powerful than other players, particularly new characters, right? They're just going to become more powerful and continue to become more powerful. On the flip side of this argument is there are people that once they are done with that 1 to 3 characters and there's nothing else to get with them, they are going to check out. Maybe come back for the new gear and content and then check out again and then maybe never come back. So, like, there's problems on both ends, I think, but
Sure.
yeah. Ron said all he can say is if he's forced to move to a new server and then I am told that I need to reacquire something, that will be the end of my playing days. Yeah, that's I definitely understand that sentiment. There are things that particularly like your guild and your airship, right? Like that's a lot of work to redo. On the topic we were just talking about, I'd love to see more things we could do with our guilds. By the way, again, like give me more reasons to take guild renown. That sounds fun. But yeah, there's certain things that I feel like you just need to carry with you. I'm not sure how and what some of those are. The monster manual, for example, I want it to carry over in some fashion. But I don't know how much I would care if I had to re-earn the monster manual.
Well, you re-get all the rewards again then too.
Sure. I mean, in my head, the thing that makes the most sense for the monster manual is on a server or on each server, you can once basically download all of that information into an item, and then you go to the new server, and then that item populates what you've killed and the number of kills you have on things. It means you probably get those rewards again, which I don't really see a problem with personally. There's some of that's just XP stuff.
And yeah, and some remnants, but not in large numbers.
I mean, you get a fair number of remnants and stuff, but whatever, price of doing business and stuff. The shards are like 1 shard a piece. Like you're not going to get a lot here. The pets you would probably already be transferring anyway, so I don't feel like there's a lot of the big information you'd be losing. Really is the hit point, the ones you can see hit points on. That's what you'd really be losing more than anything.
Yep.
Which is nice. Like I kind of like having that information.
Oh, me too.
Again, I don't know if I necessarily have a big problem with having to re-earn it. I'd probably earn it like I did now, which is not care about it. It comes when it comes.
Yep.
But I know there's also people that have really farmed for that kind of stuff too, so that would kind of be lame. But so like on that side of the scale, it's like, do I care about this? I don't think so. I don't think I really do. People who have unlocked classes and races with favor, I mean, that's a thing. Is that really hard to do? No, not in the grand scheme of things, but it's kind of rude to say, hey, this is my favorite character, and I can't play it now because it's locked out from favor rewards. That's kind of lame.
That surprised me on Hardcore Season 1. I didn't realize that I had never bought Favored Soul, for example, because I had 2,500 favor when they got released, and so I've always been able to play my favorite soul.
Yep. I had that same experience on Hardcore Season 1, and Favored Soul came on sale during December deals, I think, and I bought it. So as to not have that problem.
I now own it as well.
So that was definitely a consideration. I still don't own Drow, but that's only 400 favor, so that's easy. Yeah, so I think there's definitely things, right, that would I care about if it didn't transfer with me? No. Would I like them to transfer with me? Sure. But like I said, Monster Manual, technical limitations, I don't think I care that much. But there are people who probably do. Definitely, your guild and your airship, like that's a big thing. That I mean, that took us a while to get to level 200. It was not an insignificant amount of work, and there was a lot of people grinding out sagas for the guild renown, right? So,
Yeah.
hopefully they figure that stuff out, and hopefully they can get us to merge to new servers and stuff, because I think that would be awesome.
I agree. I think the ability to play with more people. One of the things that I really enjoy about the hardcore isn't just the experience of the hardcore, but it's meeting new people and running with people that you don't normally run with. So that's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. I hope they figure it out in the near future and we get to do it, because I think it'd be awesome to have more people and new people to play with. And I'm just gonna say, I think it'd be really awesome if we could get most of the people who contribute to the show on the same server. I definitely have a preference of, I don't know how they do it, right? Do you just let it be a free for all, or do you say that these servers can transfer to this mega server and these servers can transfer to this mega server? I don't know.
Yeah, well, they clearly have the ability after hardcore to allow free transfers to a server. So
Yeah.
I'd be fine with them just throwing up a mega server and saying, hey, transfers.
I don't
to
think
this
they can do
server.
just one though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
they might
I
need
mean,
two.
come on, could you imagine if Lava Divers and Omnipresence were on the same server? That could be entertaining.
Yeah, sure.
Stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of friends on Sarlona that play over there. So,
Yeah, it's been fun playing with like Even and Samus and a lot of folks
yeah,
on
exactly.
hardcore.
All right. So we're gonna close out the show here. Anything you want to give a shout out to on the way out the door here?
Nah, I'm good. Just everyone stay safe. Get online in DDO and can't get coronavirus that way.
Hopefully never. Thanks for listening to the show, and thanks to Asheris for joining me today. Thanks to all the other contributors for DDO Cast, and to Standing Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast for making DDO happen, and to Cyber Ears for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOcast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. I know there's a lot of places that need some help. We do not. So if you'd like to continue supporting the show, please do so. I welcome the invitation. But if you're looking for places to donate money to, at this point in time, I would say we're probably not the best place to do that. Find a local arts organization or medical stuff, or there are people, a friend, a neighbor, that kind of thing. I think probably a much better use of your money than donating it to DDO Cast. Having said that, if you're looking for places to donate, we will gladly take your money. But I would encourage you in this time to really be looking around in your community for places that are really hurting, much more so than DDO Cast, which is not. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at ddocast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. You can leave a comment if you'd like to be a part of the show. Just kind of respond to some of the stuff we've been talking about today. Or, hey, is there a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi? Leave us a comment. Email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us for the latest cast updates on social media. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place. I will try to continue to keep that as up to date as I can as we navigate the next portion of scheduling life and stuff. So with that, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather from us.